Hello. Now I'm going to cover Unit 2 in your Health and Safety at Home and Work book. We're going to discuss chemical safety and hazardous materials. So what are chemicals? Chemicals are substances or things that are in nature and also that are man-made, meaning we can create them in laboratories and we can also find them in nature. Okay. They can be safe, but chemicals can also be very dangerous or hazardous. And we need to know how to safely work with chemicals, whether at home or work. So in this section, we're going to talk about general guidelines for handling chemicals. If you are working in certain environments or certain jobs, they will often have very direct, specific guidelines. But these are general guidelines. Caustic substances, or acids and bases. Caustic substances are those things which can be dangerous if they come in contact with living things, whether plants, animals, or people. Adequate ventilation, which means getting the right airflow from outside, not just inside. And also proper equipment and safety procedures. What equipment should you be using and what procedures should you have in place when working with chemicals? Okay. First, I'm going to talk about general guidelines for handling chemicals. You always want to be very careful, whether at home or at work, on how you handle chemicals. You have to assume or believe that chemicals are hazardous if you do not know what they are. So if you have a chemical, whether it is solid, liquid, gas, you do not know what it is, believe that it is dangerous. You need to do that for your own safety. Know the dangers and hazards of the chemicals you are working with. So what kind of dangers are there with chemicals? Can they cause problems for your eyes, for your skin? You have to know that ahead of time. Never underestimate the potential hazard of any chemical or combination of chemicals. Be aware that they can be dangerous. Never use any substance or chemical that is not properly labeled. It needs to have a label on it that identifies it. It should also tell you if there are any dangers. If I have an empty bottle like this with something in it, I cannot assume I know what that is. It should be properly labeled. Follow all the safety instructions that come with any chemical, whether it is bleach in the home or substances at work. They will have safety instructions. Follow them. Minimize your exposure to chemicals. That means do not spend long periods of time with any chemical at home or at work. You need to have breaks from those chemicals. Always make sure that you are using the proper personal protective equipment when working with chemicals. It could be goggles, such as these, to protect your eyes, but also gloves when working with chemicals at home or at work. Also, long sleeves are considered personal protection. They can protect your arms from chemical splashes. And always know what other types of personal protective equipment you should be using to protect you from chemicals. And use the buddy system when you are working with hazardous or dangerous chemicals. The buddy system means do not do the job alone. Have someone with you in case there is a problem. I'm going to talk briefly about caustic substances. Those are broken down into two parts, acids and bases. Acids includes things like vinegar, lemon and orange juice, batteries, rust remover, and bowl cleaner, toilet bowl cleaner. Those are what we call acids. Bases are things like detergent powder, bathroom cleansers, bleaches, soap, ammonia, and lye. So these are two different types of caustic substances. Both can be dangerous. They can burn or destroy organic or what we call living tissue, whether it's plants, animals, people. It can cause serious injury or destroy them. So you need to make sure that you know how to properly handle these substances and how to store them. First of all, you should only buy small quantities of cleansers, acids, or bases to prevent deterioration. These substances only last so long. They will have expiration dates. If you buy too much, then you don't use it. These substances are no longer effective. They do not work the way they're supposed to. So never buy more than you need. Read the safety notices on them. They always have safety instructions written on them. If they do not use them. Wear your protective gear. Goggles, gloves, long sleeve shirt. Do not let these chemicals come in contact with your eyes or skin. If you get any of these chemicals in your eyes, make sure you wash your eyes for 20 minutes. That seems like a long time, but if you get chemicals in your eyes, even when you no longer feel any burning or other irritation, they can still be doing damage. So you want to make sure you get all of the chemicals rinsed out of your eyes. Okay, do not mix acids and bases together unless you know beforehand what is supposed to do and how it will react. You also want to never mix bleach and ammonia. Both of those you can use separately for cleaning, never mix them together. They create a gas which is very harmful to you. Make sure you dispose or get rid of any solutions in the proper way. Some solutions should not be dumped onto the ground. Some should not be poured down your kitchen sink or toilet bowl. Make sure you know how to dispose or get rid of the substances you work with. Clean your equipment after working. So whatever it is you are using, whether it's a bucket at home or equipment at work, make sure it's properly cleaned when you're finished. And if you get any of these cleansers or substances on your clothing, remove the clothing quickly. If it has anything in there dangerous, it could eat through your clothing and into your skin. And if you ingest or somehow drink any of this, you need to call 911 or Poison Control Center. Some substances you want to cause vomiting to get them up as soon as possible. Others, if you do that, you actually cause more damage. You can injure your throat and your mouth if you have the substances come back up again. All right. I want to show you a little experiment on what happens when I mix two substances together. In this bottle, which looks like water, it is actually white vinegar. And in this balloon, I have put baking soda. Baking soda is a solid, meaning it is hard or it is something that you can touch this way. It's a solid. This vinegar is a liquid. I will show you what happens when I mix the two together. So I have the vinegar in here, baking soda in here. First, I will just put the balloon over the top of the bottle with a little bit of effort. Now, I'm going to lift the balloon, and this baking soda will go mix into the bottle with the vinegar. Watch what happens to the balloon. So by mixing this solid baking soda with this liquid vinegar, I've created a gas. This is a demonstration to show you what can happen when you mix different substances together. Now this gas is safe. I do not have to worry about it. But some gases can be very dangerous. They can burn your eyes, they can burn your nose and mouth, and your throat and your lungs. So now I'm just going to take this off. 1 second while I put this out the window. There we go. And that's just to show you what can happen again when you mix chemicals. You always need to be very careful. Okay, now I want to talk about adequate ventilation and air quality. Ventilation means you are getting outside air brought in and inside air can go out. This is important because if we have only the air where we are at, if there are any substances or chemicals or anything in the air, then again, that can irritate your eyes, your skin, your nose, mouth, throat. Adequate ventilation, getting fresh air from the outside in, is always important at home and at work. Sometimes adequate ventilation is blocked from coming in by things like people are remodeling. They might have too much insulation in their house. They want to save on energy, so they put a lot of insulation around windows and doors. That helps save energy, but it also blocks fresh air. Things like dust and mold, cleaning supplies, high or low humidity, and contaminants can all cause problems with fresh air coming in or ventilation. If you do not have adequate ventilation, you're not getting enough fresh air. It can cause a wide range of health problems. It can cause headaches, fatigue or tiredness, trouble concentrating or thinking, and as I said, irritates eyes, nose, throat, and lungs. Okay, ventilation can often be poor in certain areas, small spaces that do not have ventilation to the outside. Homes or buildings where ventilation equipment has not been properly taken care of. As I said, buildings that are over-insulated. Windowless areas. If you are working in a small space, there aren't any windows, that could be a ventilation problem. And areas with a lot of people. If you have a lot of people, especially in a small space, you're using up oxygen in the room and might not be getting enough fresh air in. So now I'm going to talk about proper equipment and safety procedures. Whether you are working with chemicals at home, on a job site, in a lab, or anywhere else, the same rules apply. Plan ahead. Know what chemicals you are going to need and how much. Be sure you're not combining chemicals that should not be combined. Minimize exposure to chemicals. Do not work with chemicals for longer than necessary. If you need to work with them for a long period of time, take frequent breaks to make sure you're getting fresh air and also you don't have chemicals on you. Do not underestimate the hazards of working with chemicals. That means do not think, I'm okay with this, it's just for my house. No. If it is a chemical, it can be dangerous. Be prepared for accidents. Have whatever you need on hand to clean up any spills and to take care of them properly. And remember to use the buddy system. When working with chemicals, have at least one other person around in case there's a problem. This certainly is true on work sites, but also in your home. As I demonstrated, mixing two chemicals that are okay by themselves, mix them together creates a gas. If you are working at home by yourself with strong chemicals or cleaners, you could have a problem, and in fact, you could pass out. You need to have someone else around. I talked about personal protection equipment. You are hearing a lot about that these days. It can be the goggles, gloves, mask that we are wearing when we go outside right now, long sleeve shirts, aprons, long pants, all different kinds of equipment can be personal protection equipment. So those are the main areas that I'm going to talk about today with chemical safety. More information is in your book in Unit 2. Thank you.